welcome to Castles to Cauldrons, where every journey starts with a little bit of magic.
Welcome back to Castles and Cauldrons. This is episode 8. My name is Jason Davis. I'm your host, and I have Rachel, Micah, Terry with me today, and our special guest, Siobhan. And we are going to talk about Disney Cruise Line. Some of our great agents over at Magical Travel got to go on the Disney Fantasy this past week and experience both islands, some for the first time, some for the third or fourth time. So, okay. Siobhan, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your journey with Magical Travel and what you like to do on your free time.
Okay. Hi, I'm Siobhan Atwood. I live in Massachusetts. I have been with Magical Travel for 17 years today. 17 years ago, I decided that I had to find a way to make money at helping all of my friends and family plan their Disney vacation. My husband was in the military and I stayed at home with my kids, and I thought that this was a great way. I ended up connecting with Denise. We had some personal connections to Pennsylvania. I grew up going there every year, and to actually the same city where Denise and Rachel lived. So I started working for Magical Travel, and I haven't looked back. And I would say that pre-COVID, I primarily only sold Disney destinations. Up until COVID, I always had clients that's what they wanted to do. But then after, people wanted to expand and try different things. So during COVID, I actually got myself certified in many different cruise lines and all-inclusives and different destinations. So that way I was ready to hit the ground running. And now other destinations are a part of my business, but Disney will always be my baby, and cruising is actually my passion. I started sailing Disney Cruise Line in 2018, and I have just sailed on my 14th Disney Cruise Line sailing. So I love it. I can't say enough about it. And most of my sailings have been with adults only, with my husband. And you can definitely find a lot to do with adult only, although I can talk about all different aspects for you.
Let's start with a little bit of talk about some of the ships. Y'all went on the Fantasy. Overall, what's the expectation of a Disney cruise versus maybe any other cruise line? What stuff they might offer that others don't that would make it easier for us to choose a Disney Cruise Line over like a Royal Caribbean or Carnival?
So I am definitely a big fan of Royal Caribbean as well. However, I just think that the service on Disney Cruise Line is a step above. They really do cater to you. On Disney Cruise Line, you still get your in-room service twice a day. You get it in the morning. They clean up your room, make your beds, and then they do evening turn down. Whereas most of the other cruise lines have now gone to only once a day. You can either pick morning or evening for your cleaning of your room. But definitely the service, you have something called rotational dining on Disney Cruise Line, whereas your same dining team will travel with you to every single one of your restaurants. So if you're on a 3-night, you'll go to each of the 3 restaurants, and that same dining team, your head server, your main server, and your assistant, they will all travel with you to each of those restaurants. So they get to know you and get to know what you like. For example, on our first night, I always ordered a Diet Coke. That's my drink of choice. And on Disney Cruise Line, they typically will put a lemon in a Diet Coke because that's how they differentiate in the back, right? All Cokes look the same, so they differentiate the Diet Coke with a lemon. She brought the Diet Coke to the table. I knew that the lemon was going to be there, but I immediately took it off and put it down and said to her, I don't really like the lemon. The next night, she said, would you like the same beverage? Yes. When she brought me that Diet Coke, it didn't have a lemon in it. So like that, those are just the little things that having the same dining team will do for you. She knew that I didn't like it. And that to me was a plus. It was, that's the Disney service that you're going to get. And that's what I expect because it's the Disney difference.
And also, because I went with Siobhan on the fantasy, my son has a peanut allergy. I don't have to repeat myself every night of the sailing. They know from the jump that he has a peanut allergy, what's safe for him, what's not safe for him, and I don't have to worry about it. They even can take an order. I can pre-order for when we're at the islands. So if you want to make it easier for that, we could have pre-ordered his meals for that as well to be safe. But that is one of the best things about Disney and rotational dining is that your staff stays with you and they know your preferences.
Bethany was trying to go gluten-free on our honeymoon, and she mentioned that to our servers. And one night she just wanted to try the regular bread, and they're like, "Whoa, that has gluten. You don't need to have that." And she's like, "No, I can eat it. I was just trying to go gluten-free." So it's even to that point of their service. That's something that we liked.
With Disney Cruise Line, your sodas are included, whereas with Royal Caribbean, they are not included. So I do like the fact that I can enjoy a soft drink and it just be included with my cruise fare, and I don't need to have a soda package like I do with Royal Caribbean per night.
But going back to like your son with the peanut allergy, I'm sure as a mom, that makes you feel so much better. And like just that he's going to be safe, that you know that the serving team knows these things and that they have that like in the notes and they know for sure, like he cannot have these things and you're not having to repeat yourself. I'm not saying that, as a mom or something, you would forget to say something, but you're busy, you're trying to get kids situated at a table. Like, what if you do forget to say something one night? You don't have to worry about that on a Disney cruise like you would other cruise lines.
Yeah, it's definitely easier not to have to reiterate myself. And then they knew. And, he's 12, so he knows to speak up for himself as well. But it is nice to have that backup, knowing that he's safe on a Disney cruise line.
I like the fact with the rotational dining, just in general, it still lends itself to the Disney customer service, because that's one of the reasons we always go back to Disney World and things like that. It's like, because once you go there and you get used to service people actually wanting to serve you and wanting to make you happy, it's hard. Like, we did one year, we went to Disney World in March, and then like a youth group trip or something went to Six Flags in the summer. And my sister and I, the entire time, were just like, this is not Disney. Like, this is fun and the kids are having a great time, but like there was trash on the ground and they're not cast members there, but the employees weren't as friendly and eager to help. And it was just like, you felt like you were almost working to give them money. And it's like, that's why we always like Disney, is because it's clean, it's safe. They train their employees so well to take care of you, but not make it seem like it's their job. Like that they like your son with the allergies and the Diet Coke with no lemon. Like, it's not like they're like, oh yeah, I have to remember that. It's like they want to make you happy, that they want to do their job well. And I think that's one thing that Disney is off the charts with. The other companies, I don't know why they don't do it. I don't know why they won't do it, but just because customer service, especially these days, is so rare to get great customer service. I don't know why every corporation is not emphasizing it. So that makes me really happy when you say that they really do listen and they really do want to make you happy.
And another great tip about and something extra that other cruise line charged for, something simple as towels. When you go on Disney Cruise Line, there are towels everywhere. There's, bins and bins of towels, and right next to it is a towel return. On other cruise line, you have to scan your room key and they give you how many towels you want, and they you have to check out your towels, and then if you don't return those towels, you'll be charged a fee, and it could be $25 a towel. So it's something that you have to keep track of when you have your kids. Oh my gosh, do I have 5? I took out 5 towels. Do I have 5 to return? On Disney Cruise Line, you don't have to worry about any of that because they're not keeping track.
That's fantastic. That just seems like something extra that, why should I worry about towels on my vacation? Mm-hmm. I'm just here to relax and have a good time. And I've already paid you my money. Why am I worried about getting an extra towel if something happens?
Oh, my kids walked down from the pool deck down to the room wrapped in a towel.
Yeah. Right.
And I didn't have to worry about returning it. And they just took it from the room when they cleaned my room.
And even so much so, when you go on excursions, they will have a huge rack of towels right before you get off the ship. So that way you can take the towels with you. And, at Castaway and at Lookout Key, they have the towels on the island for you. But if you're doing another destination like Nassau or Mexico or any other their destinations, the towels will be there right when you get off the ship or right before you get off the ship. And then they'll have a towel return when you come back before you come back on the ship. So it's not like you have to be lugging them around. It's something small, but it really does make a difference.
That's what I was going to say. Like the small things add up to the big things.
Correct.
The minor inconveniences are what can sometimes ruin a vacation.
Mm-hmm.
If you take care of all those, it's a big portion of your vacation.
Exactly.
So just so we get both sides of the boat, are there any negatives you see for Disney Cruise Line versus the other cruise lines?
I would say that not everybody loves Disney theming in your face. That is definitely an obstacle. I don't mind it because I am a Disney fan. But if somebody comes to me and they say, "Oh, I don't want that Disney in my face," I typically will lead them to the newer ships. The Wish is not screaming Disney in your face, and I'm sure that the Treasure will be the same. And Rachel and I will be able to report that to you next month when we sail. But the Wish is definitely not screaming in your face Disney, but the others really do.
So you mentioned you do adult only a lot for your cruises. What's it like doing adult only on a very family centered cruise ship?
So I was a little skeptical about doing it at first. My husband never wanted to sail before. And then he did end up coming on a cruise with me. We did a FAM with Magical Travel and he came on it. And the adult only sections, they do an excellent job of keeping the kids out. Kids can come and check in with you if you're in the adult section and they're old enough that they can go on around the ship by themselves. But they do have the cast members that are there, or actually they call them crew members on the ship. Sorry. The crew members will come over if the kids are in the adult area for too long and say, "I'm so sorry, but they can't be in here." Cove Cafe is one of my favorite places. It's the coffee shop, but it's also adult coffee. They have, alcohol and that you can add into your coffee, like Irish coffee, things like that. And kids can't even go in there. So they do have a great relationship that they can go and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but the kids can't be in here," and then they'll just leave. They do adult only activities. They do something beverage tasting. So they have mixology, they have wine tastings, they have beer tastings, or any type of alcohol tastings. And those are going to be adult only, and they're in the adult only sections. And not only do they have adult only pool decks, but they have an adult area bar and like little bars, I should say. And then they have something on the Fantasy. It's called the Tube. All of the cruise line, all of the Disney ships will have a place that will be more of like a hangout. They do something called Match Your Mate. It's a version of the Newlywed Game, and it is my favorite show. I make sure that I go see it every time because it's just hilarious. Things like that kids aren't allowed at. They do adult only animation. So even if you are a Disney adult and you do want to learn how to draw, but you don't necessarily want to do it with all of the kids around, maybe you have some foul language, which definitely happens when I'm trying to draw, but they have they have adult only animation classes as well. But you just have to know, I typically will do the later seating for dining, not main dining, because there'll be less children at the later dining. I don't really have a problem with seeing kids out. And honestly, sometimes that gives me great joy by seeing other families that are experiencing that Disney wonder and that Disney magic by seeing it from somebody on a cruise ship, and if a child has a meltdown, guess what? It's not my problem. So I'm really okay with it. And just know, like I always just say, it doesn't last long. My kids are 23 and 20. It's a very brief moment. So I just kind of go with the flow. And you can get that on any cruise line though, right? You can get not Virgin because they're adult only, but you can get those meltdowns on any cruise ship. And I just feel that Disney goes above and beyond in their adult sections to keep the kids out. And so that way we can relax and have a good time.
And I do want to mention that, so my kids, because they're 11 and 12, they were roaming the ship alone, and we were at the pool, the kids, the main pool, and the movie was playing, and it was super loud. And then I went, to the adult section, and I don't know how they do it, but I did not hear the movie playing as soon as I crossed it over to the adult section.
Mm.
It's like a sound barrier that just totally cuts it off. And like, you don't hear not even a peep. It's fantastic how they have it. Also we did Palo the one night, which they have great specialty dining that's adult only. They're able to do. My kids sat at Animator's Palette and had dinner by themselves all night while the 6 of us ate at Palo's. They had the best time. So,
and that's something that they're going to talk about forever. Hey, remember that time that we went and all the adults went to Palo and we sat and ate by ourselves? And the night before, we had told the wait staff that the kids were going to come. We gave them the option. Do you want to go and have something on the pool deck to eat? Do you want to order room service? Because that's something else that's also huge. Disney Cruise Line, room service is included, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Whereas other cruise lines, they include breakfast for free, but on Disney Cruise Line, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You want to order milk and cookies before bed? It's something that I've done in the past. You can do that.
Can't you order a Mickey Premium Bar through room service too?
Yep. That is all included. Of course, I always recommend giving the person that brings it to you, a gratuity. However, the only other thing is that if you order a soda from room service, they do charge for that. Any bottled beverages, so they will charge a small fee for that. The other, like you can go down to the pool deck and bring sodas into your room, and that's fine, no problem. But any of the other room service is going to be included. But we said to the kids, do you want to have something from the pool deck? Do you want to eat at Animators and they chose to go to Animators. So we told the dining team that they were going to be coming the next day by themselves. And the head server, well, not the head server, our waiter said, if we don't see them, should we worry? That's what she said. If we don't see them, should we worry and do something? And I think it was Frank spoke up and said, you know what? We're going to bring them. We'll deliver them here to you, and then we'll go to dinner. And so that's what they did. They had an adult escort them to dinner, but they sat there at dinner and by themselves. I think that's great.
They took pictures of themselves ordering and eating, and they sat at opposite sides. Because my dad thought that would be funny for them to do. So at an 8-person table, they sat on opposite sides of the table. They just thought they were awesome. I think that was the highlight of their trip.
Yes.
So that you felt comfortable enough to let them do that. Because how old are they? 12?
They're 12 and 11.
12 and 11, that you felt comfortable enough, hey, we're on the ship. We know that you're safe. These people know you're coming. You can order your food. Your son with the peanut allergy, know he's going to be okay because the servers know, and that they can have that little bit of freedom that you can't give them in everyday life, because you can't do that in just a regular restaurant. Let them go in and sit down while you're somewhere else.
Yeah, this was the first cruise that they are old enough that we felt comfortable to let them wander and go to the kids' clubs by themselves and go to the pool by themselves. And they had the freedom that they've never experienced before on a cruise ship.
And they loved it, didn't they?
Oh my God, they loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They were out later than my husband and I.
and in full disclosure, before anybody gets really upset, there were at least 10 other travel agents that knew Rachel's children in that dining room. So it wasn't truly, but they felt like they were alone because
they didn't know any different, but they had little eyes on them.
Right, exactly.
Because at what age can they check themselves in and out of the kids club on their own? What age does that start?
I don't know if they just went to 10, but typically 9 and older, they can sign themselves in and out, but they may have just gone to 10. I'll have to double check on that.
Yeah, my kids were in Edge, which is the 11 to 14 age group, and they're able to do that by themselves.
I just love that the servers asked you, should we worry if they don't show up? I mean, that's also another level of concern, that they didn't have, they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to watch out for your kids like that. And I think that's awesome.
You mentioned the kids club and the teen club. What do those entail? What do we get with those if kids want to do that?
If they're under 3 and not 3 and under, and they're not toilet trained, they can go to the It's a Small World nursery. There is a fee for that as well. But once they are 3 years old and toilet trained, then 3 to 10 will go to the Oceaneer Club or the Oceaneer Lab. And that is open pretty much all of the time. Of course they're closed in the middle of the night, and it's all complimentary. So they can go there, first thing in the morning. And a lot of times the kids cry because they don't want to leave there. And then so 11 to 14 is Edge. And then that is tell me some of the things that they did in Edge, Rachel.
So they had like dance parties, they had icebreakers, they had Wii's and gaming consoles. They had foosball table in there.
Right.
On the Fantasy, it was smaller compared to some of the other ship. Because what was the ship that has its own full deck?
So that's Vibe. So that's on the Fantasy too, but Vibe is 14 to 17. However, if they are 13, you can sign a consent form and they can go into Vibe. And Vibe is where it's at for that teenage years. You're talking about your kids don't want to go on vacation with you. They'll want to go on a Disney Cruise Line vacation with you because they have their own sun deck, their own pool in there. I know that some of us have posted some pictures when you can look out the front of the ship, and when you look down, you'll see that little pool deck, and you'll say, "Why? Who can go there? I haven't seen that." And that's because it's Vibe. They have their own indoor space, gaming center. They make smoothies in there, video games galore, and like I said, their own pool deck. Vibe is definitely someplace that they want to hang out.
I just love that they have like their own, each club has like their own activities that they have. So like on the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app, you can see the activities in each of the clubs each day.
Right.
So I think that's a nice thing for the kids to be able to do, because my kids were like, all right, we gotta go to Edge at 8:00. We got something to do, so their night was kind of planned out.
And I always recommend to clients that if they say to me, "Oh, my kids won't go to the kids club," I always say, look at the Navigator app and look and see where it's something that they would be interested in doing. And that's when you take them. If arts and craft is their jam, take them when they're doing some sort of arts and craft. If they love Star Wars, and if they're having a Star Wars event, take them when something Star Wars is going on, because they're going to be more inclined to want to stay when it's something that they want to do. And the crew members that work inside of the kids clubs know that kids are shy, and they even have icebreakers to get them to open up to other kids right when you get on board. And also the great thing is that the kids clubs will always have open houses, so that way parents can go and check them out and look and see what the kids are going to be doing. They'll meet the crew members that are working there in the kids clubs, and that way you get to feel more comfortable with it. My favorite thing about the kids clubs is how they wash their hands. It's an automated washer. So it's a little machine that you stick your hands in, and it washes it around, and then you put soap on it and it washes it around, and it's automatic. So they have to wash their hands every time that they go into the kids clubs. And it's just something that's really fun to do. So when the parents go to the open houses, you can also wash your hands in those little automated washers.
I love doing that. Like when I did the open house, I was just like, "Oh my God, this is so cool.
This is so cool. Why can't we have this everywhere?"
Yeah.
And when you take Travis on the Wish, you have to go down the slide.
Let's talk about theme nights that they have. Mm-hmm. I know they kind of got rid of the theme cruises so much now that they've started introducing the Pixar characters and the Star Wars characters onto the ships a little bit more. But what about just theme nights in general? Do they do formal nights? What type of stuff do they do?
So typically on your second night of the cruise, it will be called Dress Your Best. But on Disney Cruise Line, I've really found that you will see the gamut of, people that are still dressed very casually, and then there's people that will go all out. Typically, people will be more dressed up on a 7-night cruise than they do on the shorter 3, 4, and 5-night cruise. But the 7-night cruise, they typically are a little bit more dressed. And they say dress your best because you don't have to. It's not a requirement. You don't have to dress up if you don't want to. All of the restaurants will have a different theming. Royal Court is typically, or Royal Palace, it's on some ships. That's a little bit more dressier. It's more regal. So people tend to dress up when they go there. Animator's Palette is a lot of fun because if you're on a 7-night cruise on the Fantasy or the Dream, one night will be Crush will come and talk to you and entertain you while you eat. And the other one is a drawing. Everybody gets a placemat. You have to draw your person. You draw however you want them to be decorated. And at the end, they superimpose your drawing onto the screens and they dance. And it's so much fun. The kids love it because, of course, not everybody knows how to draw. And so that some of the pictures are really funny. But probably the biggest theme night that they have is Pirate Night. Disney Cruise Line is the only cruise line that does fireworks at sea. You might see other cruise lines do fireworks, but they're shooting them off from their own private island or something like that. But Disney Cruise Line is the only cruise line that does fireworks at sea. And it's really funny because if you pay attention and you go to some of the upper decks and you look out, you will see the other cruise lines that are sailing around them. They all kind of hang out because they know that Disney Cruise Line will be shooting off their fireworks at 10:15 or 10:20. And they all I've never been on another cruise where it's been hanging out, but I can only imagine that, hey, we get to see a fireworks show. So that's but their Pirate Night, people go all out for their Pirate Night. Families, children, adults get all dressed up for Pirate Night.
Don't they give you like a bandana in your stateroom for each person to kind of like, if you didn't bring something so you can participate?
So the Wish does not give you anything for Pirate Night. They sell the bandanas, but the Wish doesn't. But the Dream, the Fantasy, Magic, Wonder, they do. Well, the Wonder, I'm not too sure if they even do Pirate Night because they're on different. Yeah,
I know they don't do it in Alaska because
they don't do it. Right. Yeah, but the Pirate Night is a lot of fun. And then even on the newer ships like the Wish, they have 1923 is one of their restaurants. So a lot of people will dress up as in the 1920s, which is a lot of fun. So it's not necessarily that they have other themed nights, but they do. People tend to dress to the restaurant that you're going to.
Quick, just the adult restaurants. Like, what's the difference between Palo and Remy? Because y'all mentioned both of those, extra cost for them, anything like that.
Yep. So Palo is on the Dream and the Fantasy and the Magic and the Web. They're Italian themed. And Remy is French. And then on the Wish, Palo is a steakhouse and Enchanté is French. And they both have an upcharge. It's $50 for Palo, and I believe it's $120 for Remy or Enchanté.
I think Enchanté is $185.
Wow.
Does that include drinks? Like,
no, it doesn't. So they have
it's $125. I'm sorry, you're right.
Okay.
But they have different menus.
Okay.
There's different ones you can do.
And for Palo and Remy and Enchanté, you can do a wine pairing with it. So like I paid attention to Palo when we were just there, so I can tell you that it was $50 to eat at Palo per person, and then it was $85 if you wanted to do the wine pairing, and that's a 4-course meal. So they would give you 4 glasses of wine that pair with it. But if you're a platinum member or above, you and your stateroom, the person that you bring from your stateroom you don't pay for Palo, which is nice. So I typically go there once a cruise because I don't have to pay for it. So,
comparing Disney Cruise Line to other cruise lines, do they have like a drink package like other ones do? Like if you wanted to purchase one as an adult?
They don't. They have a drink of the day, which will be always discounted. It's, you can buy a drink cup and they can refill that, or you can bring your own, but they'll always have a drink of the day. And then they also have a beer mug because they have 2 different sizes of draft beers. And essentially with the beer mug, you are getting the larger size for the smaller size cost. So those are the only 2 packages that they have. And it's not even a package. They don't have a traditional beverage package like other cruise lines.
Well, I like how you're describing it because it seems like Disney makes it kind of perfect. Like if you have a family that's going, say there's grandma and grandpa, then like one sibling is married with kids, and then one sibling might just be married or have a long-term boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, no kids, where everyone can go on a Disney cruise and still feel like they're having fun. Like you said, like
right.
The ones without kids and even the ones with kids that go to the adults only part. It's not just because you're on a Disney cruise. It's going to be like in Disney World where it's like music and crazy.
Right. In your face. Right. Right.
And you can still get cocktails and as opposed to other cruise lines, maybe you don't have to worry as much about people overindulging if you do have kids with you.
Correct.
So everyone knows that parents sometimes just need a glass of wine, especially if you're on a boat with your kids and your husband for a long time.
Right.
It's nice that they allow that and they have that, but you don't have to worry about, your kids are safe. They're in a kids club and you can go time with your husband and the other sibling can go and have, kid free time. And then everyone has nice dinners. You're not sacrificing anything.
That's correct.
On a quote unquote kid friendly cruise as opposed to like a Virgin cruise that's adults only and things like that. And I like how they do that.
I do too. I had no problem sailing with Rachel's family and, having her kids there. When we went to Lighthouse, I just said to Rachel, I'm going to go to Serenity Bay tomorrow. And she was like, no problem. And Serenity Bay is the adult only sections of Castaway and Lookout Key. So they do have adult only sections there, but maybe that's a good segue to talk about the private islands.
I was going to say, with that, we'll go to an ad break.
Okay.
And we'll come back and talk about the private and exclusive areas that Disney has in the Caribbean.
Are you dreaming of your next adventure, but overwhelmed by planning? Magical Travel has you covered. With over 22 years in the business, we specialize in Disney destinations, Universal Studios, cruise vacations, and all-inclusive resort getaways. Our services are 100% complimentary when you book a vacation package with one of our knowledgeable agents. Request a free quote to start the planning process at www.magicaltravel.com. Mention our podcast to be connected with one of our agents you are listening to.
And we're back. Disney has a great private island that I've been on, but then they just opened up their exclusive. Is it a beach, would you say, or is it still an island? No,
it's definitely it's a section of an island because it's a large section. There's two sides of that island that Disney has quote unquote taken over, and that is Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point. And that is their newer of the two. And Castaway Key is their original. And what I say to people is that Castaway is for people that want to relax. And Lookout Key is for somebody that may want to do something a little bit adventurous. They have nature trails. They have, I'm trying to think of some of the other excursions that are more historical, that you can go have an in-depth look at the Bahamian island and see their culture. Something that I love that they do on Lookout Key is every afternoon they have a Junkaroo. Is that how you say it? Junkaroo? I never know if I'm saying it right. Festival where Mickey and Minnie will lead a parade of very, very elaborate costumes and bands that do a performance. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
So what can you find on Castaway then versus what you can find out on Lookout?
So Castaway they have a huge family beach, which they have it on Lookout Key too, but they have Pelican Plunge, which is a water slide that's actually in the water. You have to swim out to it, and when you do the slide, it goes into the water. They have kids clubs that are actually on the island, which they have them at Lookout as well. They have the Serenity Bay is on both islands, but they have floats and rafts that you can use in the ocean at Castaway, where they don't have them at Lookout Key, because on Castaway it's roped off and it's more separated by a barrier, so they can catch those floats. But Lookout, there's no way to catch them if you happen to let a float go or one drifts away from you. That is the ocean and it's gone forever. So they don't have floats and rafts at Lookout, but they have them at Castaway. They have water sports at both of them. They have things like hobby cats, parasailing at Castaway. I didn't see parasailing at Lookout Key though, Rachel. Did you see that at all? I didn't see that there.
I did not.
I did. not. Yep. I just didn't know if it was happening at the other side of the island so what happens is that when you go to Castaway and you get off the ship, you'll go to a tram, and that tram will have 2 stops, and then there's a transfer tram to get to Serenity Bay. But basically, you get off the ship and you could be right there. In 5 minutes, you could be on the beach and in the water. They have 2 restaurants, Cookies 1 and Cookies 2. And then you can also eat lunch over on Serenity Bay. And that food is included with your cruise voyage. So you can go and eat lunch there. All you can eat ice cream, desserts, all included. You don't have to pay additional off the ship for that. But when you go to Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point, I'm sure if you are watching this, you're a Disney lover, so you've heard about the pier. There is a very long pier. It is a half a mile long that you have to walk in order to get to the tram for the other side. And then the tram is about an additional 10 minutes. So you're talking, 20 to 30 minutes before you actually can get to the other side of the island to be on the beach. Now, I will tell you, I am not an exercise person. I don't like to walk, but there's something about that pier, that I actually really don't mind. There's always a breeze there. It's really nice scenery. You can look out, you see the cabanas in front of you, or the first look at Lighthouse Point when you get walking towards it. And then on the way back, you're looking at the ship and you're just so caught up in looking at different things. Now, don't get me wrong, that walk is not for everyone. And something that, you really need to know is that when you are on that ship and you want to go to Lighthouse Point, you need to go to guest services and arrange for a golf cart for anybody that is in your party that has mobility issues. We even saw people that were trying to get the golf cart the day of, once they get off the ship, and it was over an hour wait because they hadn't signed up for it. So if you know anybody that has mobility issues and they're going to Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point as one of their ports, they have to go to guest services as soon as they get on board, because they'll sign up for a time for that golf cart. So that way they don't have to walk the pier. Castaway is very, very relaxing. They do a 5K there. So if you are a runner, and you can get a medal at the end. But other than that, they have bike rentals. They have bike rentals on both of the islands. However, the Castaway is where a lot of people will do it. There's a lot of great things to see. You can actually take it to the lighthouse that is on Castaway as well.
You mentioned about the cabanas. What amenities do those have? How hard are they to get?
So in recent years, basically the cabanas are taken by guests that are sailing concierge. So they have cabanas that are on the family beach, and then they have cabanas that are on Serenity Bay, which is the adult only section. They have them on both Castaway and Lookout Key. They are a hefty price tag for on the family beach. They accommodate six people, and it is just under $1,000 for those cabanas. And the same thing, they're just under $1,000 over on Lookout Key as well. But they come with the cabana itself, and inside the cabana will be chairs that are covered. So in case it does rain, you have some place to go, but there's a couch and a couple of chairs. There's 2 lounge chairs and then another outdoor chair. There's a safe inside of it, so in case you want to lock anything up while you're on the beach. And then there's a refrigerator that is full of sodas and waters and actually cold towels. And then there's also a fruit platter that they deliver to you while you're in there. And there's a button that you can press if you want any alcoholic beverages, or even if you want a smoothie or anything additional. If you want anything from the cabana team, you just press the button and they come and ask you what you want. This time we were in a cabana that was further down. So we asked if we could have a ride to lunch from the golf cart, because it is a good walk to get to the other side where we wanted to eat lunch. So we pressed the button, said we want to go for lunch, and they came with the golf cart and took us over to the other side, and we were able to eat lunch over there.
The cabanas also come with the tube float and then the mat float.
Yep.
You also get a hammock, and you get lounge chairs and beach chairs on the actual beach itself with an umbrella. So we take our chairs and put them in the water, and we just kind of relax there. But yeah, we went and snorkel gear is
Snorkel
also
equipment, and the bikes are also included on Castaway.
Yeah. So my family of 4, we did the snorkeling. We just, we pressed the button. We had the golf cart come. They took us over to that area, and we were able to snorkel. So it was a really nice day.
There's also 2 bottles of sunblock in there, as well as sand toys. If your kids want to play with sand toys on the family beach. But yep, sunblock and sand toys. And then there was chips and protein bars in there as well. And at 10 o'clock, we all decided that we all wanted a bag of chips, and there really wasn't enough for everybody. So I just pressed the button and said, hey, can we have some more chips? And then they brought us a whole other thing of chips, and they'll replenish any of the drinks that you need. And there was cold towels in there too, which is a really nice touch because it was hot, and just something to cool you down with those cool towels in the refrigerator.
And they do have like it's like a curtain for like a changing area. Mm-hmm. So that is nice if, you have multiple families sharing it. So if kids or anyone wants to get changed without going to the restroom, they are able to do so and feel comfortable. And there is a shower and like a foot wash area as well on the cabana itself.
That's a lot. Like, that's a lot of amenities.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
And I think compared to like other cruise lines cabanas, like Royal Caribbean's, I think that Disney's is fairly priced.
Yeah, I do too.
So
anytime you get a push button for things you want, I mean, that adds an extra level of it's worth it,
Yeah, but they are really hard to get because concierge they are able to book first, whatever they want to do on the ship or in the port. Concierge will book first at 130 days, and then Pearl, then Platinum, Gold, Silver, and first-time cruisers. That's how they book their cruise activities and their port adventures, is by your Castaway status.
And I do want to say that on our fantasy sailing, we have a Pearl member on there, and those cabanas on both islands were sold out just on the concierge itself. There was nothing available when Pearl opened. We were able to get a cabana on a cancellation. So there is there's always a chance of getting things on a cancellation. And the nice thing about any activities with Disney Cruise Line is that you don't have to pay for the activity or excursion at the time of booking. You pay for it when you're on the ship or at your final folio. So unlike, Royal Caribbean, at the time of booking the excursion, you have to pay for it. Whereas with Disney, you don't have to do that.
So that might be kind of where it also helps to have a travel planner help you plan your trip, is that like all these things, like you mentioned, like the tiered system and like when to plan it and how to plan it, to the average Joe, you just want to go on vacation. Like you don't want to have to read every message board and every Reddit thread to figure out when I have to plan this, when's the best time to do this, where is the best place to do, all these tips and tricks that vacation planners, it's just in there.
Right.
Secondhand, you don't think about that you have this knowledge. It's just popping out of your brain. And that's where like magical travel helps you, because There's no extra fee to use the brain of someone who's done it a million times, but you have all the benefits of using that brain.
Exactly. And I always let my clients know too, and I know all of you do as well, when their booking windows are going to open and when their online check-in is going to happen, and just any important information that they need to know.
So what was you guys, both of you, what is your favorite, or anyone that's been on a cruise? I'm sorry, Jason, I know you have to. What's your favorite excursion? If you're on a cruise and you tell someone they have to do something, if they can only do one thing, what is the best thing to do?
Oh boy.
I'll make it easy because I've only done the Bohemian cruises. So, and I've not done any excursions. So, but I don't get off in the Bahamas.
So now the Nassau port, they've actually redone it, and it's lovely. It's really nice. There's a bunch of little Bahamian shops, even like little kiosks, but then they actually have other real shops there that you can buy Bahamian made things. It's not like a straw market. It is and it isn't, but to me it's nicer than how it used to be. And it's all gated in, so you definitely feel safe. At the end, there is a large like amphitheater. I haven't seen anything go on there, but it's new. Like it's up and coming that they're changing that port. Jason, next time you go to the Bahamas, get off and go see it because it actually is really nice there. The last time I was in the Bahamas, we actually went to the Great Cliff Chocolate Factory and we made chocolate and sampled chocolate, and we were able to bring the chocolate back on the ship. I thought it was great. We had a great time. It was just something different to do than going to sit on a beach. But my favorite excursion, and it does take a little bit of time to get there, but I love Trunk Bay on St. John. So that is on Eastern Caribbean. When you go to St. Thomas, you can take the ferry over to St. John, and you can either do it on your own or you can do it through the cruise line. They'll have an excursion, but I love Trunk Bay. It's a national park and it is just so beautiful there. The water is very similar to me on Lookout Key. The water at Lookout Key is stunning. It truly is beautiful. The white sand, it's just, I don't know. It's like you are in a different place, but it really is truly luxurious. And that's how I feel about Trunk Bay. I always enjoy my time going to Trunk Bay. So that's probably my favorite excursion.
The only excursion that I've really done was parasailing at Castaway Key. My husband and I did it back in 2017, but I am a sit my butt in the sand and like to tan girl. So that's just kind of what I want to do. But I've only ever done Eastern Caribbean. So I've really only ever done, Lookout, Lighthouse, Royal Caribbean's Private Island, Coco Cay. So, I haven't been able to really explore those Western islands yet. So
Honduras is, it's other cruise lines go there, but I actually really liked Honduras. I liked it more than I thought that I was going to, because you look into things and there's crime and where isn't there crime really, but I was pleasantly surprised by that. We actually hired a private driver and he took us around to different key points. But my favorite thing that we did there was I said, I want to go to a restaurant where locals go. I don't want to go to your, Senor Frogs and I don't want to go to your touristy places. I want to go where nobody goes. And he took us to a place that it was so fresh. Literally, they were out of a lot of things because they didn't catch it that day. Or my husband really wanted iguana and they didn't have it because they had sold out of it because that's how popular it was. And talk about drinks. Oh boy. I had one drink and I was like, I cannot have another because I don't know if I'll make it back to the ship. So, I really liked that experience. But, and I also love Jamaica. Disney Cruise Line goes to Falmouth, Jamaica, and I'm a fan. But I do prefer Eastern Caribbean over the Western Caribbean. I love the British Virgin Island of Tortola. I've done the baths that are there. That's really cool to see in person. You see the pictures of the little rock formations and the tide pools and things like that. But that's a really pretty place to go as well.
When we're talking about Disney Cruise Line, what would you say would be better for a family to do? A Disney cruise trip or maybe a Walt Disney World trip, price point wise? Like if they want to have a good time, but it's their first Disney experience maybe or something like that. Or what would you say?
I'm always partial to doing the parks for a first experience. I think that
well, maybe your parent, maybe like I'm thinking like the dads who don't really want to be so.
I think it depends on like what type of experience you're looking to have. Like, do you want to be go and be in the theme parks, or do you want to have like a more relaxing type? If it's more of a price point, you want the Disney experience either way. I think a Disney Cruise Line essentially almost being all inclusive with your dining included, very comparable to what you would spend or even less than what you would spend with dining at Walt Disney World. That's it. It depends on the price point, I think, and what type of experience you really want to have.
Back to what you were saying, I feel like if there's a dad that's going to be grumpy, not on a beach, then maybe the cruise line is the best way to go, as opposed to walking around on asphalt all day. Well, Disney is fun. I feel like so many people get wrapped up in the crowds or the heat or the walking, but it doesn't feel like you're doing a lot of that stuff while you're there because the atmosphere, they do such a great job with the music and the sounds and you're constantly stimulated. It's not like you walk 5 miles a day, maybe there or more, but it's not like walking 5 miles in your hometown. It's
Right.
and then you see your kids
You're
so
doing
happy, things like that. So I think it's different.
I don't like the sand, so I'd rather go to Disney World than go on a Bohemian cruise or anything where I have to be on the beach.
I
But
mean,
you
you
don't
could
have to.
go
They have these things called
Alaska.
sand shoes.
Yeah, that's why we're going to Alaska.
Is that where you're
You
going
could
to
do
Alaska? Did you hate
You could
sand?
do a Mediterranean Disney cruise.
Ooh, that'd
Or
be
a Singaporean Disney cruise.
Yeah.
Or Australia.
You could do the
I think there's a lot of
Australia.
sand in Australia too.
Yeah, if you don't want sand.
I
You
would
could do the Vancouver to Hawaii.
there's sand in Hawaii.
I'm just saying, but not in
It's
Vancouver.
Hawaiian sand.
It's Hawaiian sand. It's different.
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 Doesn't count.
Yeah, see, Australian sand is Australian. It's different than the white sands of
24
Panama
hours to
City.
get there. Like, getting there is also a trip.
It's the experience. See, you plan it out though. You fly into LA, do a couple days at Anaheim, fly to Aulani, do a couple
Break it
days at
up.
Aulani,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get to Australia.
Well, that's not bad.
Yes,
Hey,
it's true
maybe
right there.
that's a new idea for me for my 25th wedding anniversary
There
this
you
year.
go. Well, we want to end today thanking Siobhan for coming on today and talking about Disney Cruise Line and all of her experience with it. Siobhan, can you tell us where we can find you and if anybody wants to book a Disney cruise or any other type of family vacation?
Yeah. So I can be reached by email at satwood@magicaltravel.com. So it's SATWOOD at magicaltravel.com. My social media, I'm on Facebook. It's Siobhan Atwood at Magical Travel. And you spell my name SIOBHAN Atwood at Magical Travel. Then on Instagram and TikTok, my handle is See You Real Soon, just like Disney. SEEYAREALSOON. See you real soon.
All right. And as always, we would like to thank y'all for taking your time and listening to us. If you have the chance to please leave a review for us, share any of this with your friends and family that are talking about doing a Disney cruise. If you want to book with any of us or any of our great agents at Magical Travel, you can go to www.magicaltravel.com, and we will see you on the next episode.